विषय में बहुत सारी चीजें बताते हैं चैतन्य महाप्रभु डिवोशनल सर्विस एंड अटैचमेंट में। और एग्जाम्पल देते हैं कि बेस्ट एग्जाम्पल है ब्रजभूमि। जितने ब्रजवासी है वो सारे भगवान के शुद्ध प्रेम में हैं, शुद्ध भक्ति कर रहे हैं और राग मार्ग भक्ति कर रहे हैं। तो इस तरह से ये चैप्टर में था डिवोशनल सर्विस एंड अटैचमेंट। तो अब हम नेक्स्ट चैप्टर स्टार्ट करते हैं, चैप्टर 14। माता जी, स्क्रीन इज नॉट विजिबल। Yes, now it's visible. Chapter 14, the ecstasy of the Lord and his devotees. The symptoms of highly developed devotional service for Krishna, which are exhibited by the pure devotees, are sometimes initiated by those who are not actually pure devotees. This is described in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Without devotional service to Krishna, such symptoms are artificial, not actual. Sometimes those who are not conversant with the science of devotional service are captivated by the exhibition of such symptoms, but learned devotees know that they are simply imitation. According to the various divisions and gradations of devotees, permanent devotional attitudes can be divided into 5 categories: peacefulness, service to Krishna, friendship with Krishna, parental affection towards Krishna, and conjugal love for Krishna. Each division has its own taste and relish, and a devotee situated in a particular division is happy in that position. Characteristic symptoms exhibited by a pure devotee are not generally laughing and crying when emotions are favorable. A pure devotee laughs, and when emotions are not favorable, he cries. तो इसमें बता रहे हैं कि 5 तरीके से, 5 गुणों से भगवान से हम एसोसिएट हो सकते हैं। वो 5 कैटेगरी क्या है? पीसफुलनेस, सर्विस टू कृष्णा, फ्रेंडशिप विद कृष्णा, पेरेंटल अफेक्शन और कॉन्जुगल लव। ये बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है। नेक्स्ट अनमोल माता जी, यू कैन रीड।
Situated above these two emotions is permanent love, which is called Sthai Bhav. In other words, when one's attachment to Krishna is permanent, one is situated in Sthai Bhav. That permanent loving attitude is sometimes mixed with different kinds of taste, called Vibhav, Anubhav, Vyabhachari. Vibhav is a particular taste or attachment for Krishna, and it can be divided into 2 further categories, Alamban and Uddipan. In the Agni Puran and other authoritative scriptures, that which increases one's love for Krishna is said to be Vibhav, and when Krishna is the objective, Vibhav is described as Alamban. Uddipanas includes Krishna's transcendental qualities, his activities, his beautiful smiling face, and the aroma of his body, the sound of his flute, ankle bells, and conch shell, the marks on the soles of his feet, his dwelling place, and his paraphernalia of devotional service, such as tulsi leaves, devotees, ceremonial performances, and Ekadashi. Anubhav occurs when feelings and emotions within oneself are exhibited. In the attitude of Anubhav, one dances and sometimes falls down, sometimes sings loudly, show convulsions, yawns, and sometimes breathes very heavily, all without concern for circumstances. The external features exhibited on the bodies of devotees are called Udbhavasar. The Vyabhachari symptoms are 33 in number, and they primarily involve words uttered by the devotee and various bodily features. Different bodily features such as dancing, trembling, and laughing sometimes mix with the Vyabhachari symptoms, which are called Sanchari. When Bhava, Anubhav, and Vyabhachari symptoms are combined, they make the devotee dive into the ocean of immortality. That ocean is called Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the ocean of the pure nectar of devotional service. One who is merged in that ocean is always wrapped in transcendental pleasure on the sounds of that ocean. तो स्टार्टिंग में एक पैराग्राफ था जिसमें बोला था कि बहुत सारे ऐसे डिवोटीज होते हैं जो कि प्योर डिवोटीज को देख करके बहुत ज्यादा इम्प्रेस हो जाते हैं और फिर उनकी तरह बिहेव करते हैं, इमिटेट करते हैं उनको। तो ये गलत है, लेकिन क्योंकि जो प्योर डिवोटीज है वो आइडेंटिफाई कर लेते हैं कौन इमिटेट कर रहा है, किसके रियल सिम्टम्स है। तो जो परमानेंट लव में या जो जिनका स्थायी भाव होता है तो उनके क्या सिम्टम्स है वो यहाँ पे डिस्क्राइब हुआ है।
The particular rasas, flavors or taste of the devotee who merge into the ocean of Bhakti Rasamrit are known as neutrality, servitorship, friendship, parenthood, and conjugal love. Conjugal love is very prominent and it is symptomized by the devotees decorating his body to attract Krishna. The flavor of seviotisship increases to include affection, anger, fraternity, and attachment. The flavor of friendship increases to include affection, anger, fraternity, attachment, and devotion. And in parenthood, the attachment also increases to include affection, anger, fraternity, attachment, and devotion. There are also special flavors experienced in friendship with the Supreme Lord, and these are manifested by the friends such as Subala, whose devotion increases up to the point of bhav. The different rasas are also divided into the kinds of ecstasy called yogas and viyoga, or meeting or and separation. In the rasas of friends and parenthood, the feeling of meeting and separations are various. The situation known as Ruddha, advanced, and Aniruddha, highly advanced, are possible only in the rasas of conjugal love. Conjugal love exhibited by the queens of at Dwarka is called Ruddha, and conjugal love exhibited by the Vrindavan by the damsels of Vraj is called Aniruddha. The highest perfectionist of Aniruddha affection is in conjugal love involve meeting Madana and separation Mohana. In the ecstasy of Madana, there is kissing, and in the ecstasy of Mohan, there are Ud- Udgurna, unsteadiness, and Chitra Jalpa, varieties of mad emotional talks. There are 10 varieties of Chitra Jalpa, examples of which are given in Srimad Bhagavatam, in a portion known as Brahmara, Brahmara Gita. Udgurna, a symptom of separation, is also a symptom of transcendental insanity. In that transcendental insanity, one thinks that he himself has become the supreme personality of Godhead. In such an ecstasy, he imitates the symptoms of Krishna in different ways.
The two divisions of ecstasies experienced in the relationship of conjugal love are Sambhoga, meeting, and Vipralamba, separation. On the Sambhoga platform, the ecstasies are unlimited, and on the Vipralamba platform, they are four in number. The ecstasies exhibited before the lover and beloved meet. The ecstasies experienced between them after meeting, the state of mind experienced by not meeting, and the state of mind experienced after meeting but fearing separation are called Vipralamba. Date Vipralamba serve as a nursing element for future meetings when the lover and beloved meet all of a sudden and embrace one another. They feel an ecstasy of happiness, and the state of mind they experience in that ecstasy is called Sambhoga. According to the situation, Sambhoga ecstasy is also known by four names: San- Sankraspita, Sankirna, Sampana, or Samradhimam. Such symptoms are also visible during dreams. The mental state experienced before meeting is called Purvaraga. The obstacles that impede the meeting between the lover and beloved are called mana or anger. When the lover and beloved are separated, the mental state experience is called Pravasa, feelings of separation which are present under certain conditions even when the lovers meetings are called the anxiety. anxiety, prema, vicharita. Such love anxiety are exhibited in Srimad Bhagavatam by Krishna's queens who kept awake high nights and watched him sleep. Afraid of being separated from Krishna, they talk among themselves about how they had been affected by his beautiful eyes and smile.
The supreme lover is Krishna in Vrindavan, and the supreme beloved is Radharani. Krishna has 64 main qualities, and his devotees takes transcendental pleasure in hearing of them. As explained in the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, the characteristics are as follows. His body is well constructed, his body is full of auspicious symptoms, his body is beautiful, he is very glorious, he is very strong, he looks like a boy of 16, he is well versed in various languages, he is truthful, he is decorated with pleasing words, he is expert in speaking, he is very learned, he is very intelligent, he is very influential, joyful, cunning, expert, grateful, firmly convinced. He knows how to deal with different circumstances and he is always conversant with scriptural injunctions, clean, controlled by his devotees, steady, self controlled, always forgiving, grave, self satisfied, fair in his dealings, magnanimous, religious, great hero, merciful, respectful, competent, gentle, modest, protector of the souls surrendered unto him, deliverer, friend of the devotees, submissive to love, all auspicious, most powerful, famous, devoted to all living entities, worshipable by everyone, very attractive to all women, partial to his devotees, full of all opulence, supreme controller, and all honor. These 50 qualities are fragmentally present in every living entity. When a human being is completely spiritually free and situated in his original condition, all these qualities can be perceived in him in quantity. In Krishna, however, they exist is totality. There are five other transcendental qualities mentioned below, which can be seen in Vishnu, the Supreme Lord, and partially in Lord Shiva also, because they are not visible in ordinary living entities. These qualities are as follows. He is always situated in his original condition. He is omniscient. He is evergreen or always fresh. He is eternally blissful. He is the master of all perfection. Besides these five transcendental characteristics, there are five others which can be seen in the spiritual sky, especially in the Vaikuntha planets, where Narayan is the predominating deity. These are he has inconceivable potencies, able to sustain innumerable universes, is the seed of all incarnations, grants the highest perfection to those enemies whom he kills. He is attractive to self-realized persons.
The above mentioned 60 qualities are visible in Narayan, but Krishna has four special qualities which are he is able to manifest wonderful pastimes, he is expert at transcendental flute playing, he is surrounded by loving devotees, he possesses unparalleled personal beauty. Thus, Krishna has 64 transcendental qualities. Srimati Radharani has 25 transcendental qualities with which she can control even Krishna. Her transcendental qualities are as follows. She is sweetness personified, a fresh young girl. Her eyes are always moving. She is always brightly smiling. She possesses all auspicious marks on her body. She can agitate Krishna by the aroma of her person. She is expert in the art of singing. She speaks very nicely and sweetly. She is expert in presenting feminine attractions. She is modest and gentle. She is always very merciful. She is transcendently cunning. She knows how to dress nicely. She is always shy. She is always respectful. She is always patient. She is very grave. She is enjoyed by Krishna. She is always situated on the highest devotional platform. She is the abode of love of the residents of Gokul. She can give shelter to all kinds of devotees. She is always affectionate to superiors and inferiors. She is always obliged by the dealings of her associates. She is among she is the greatest among Krishna's girlfriends. She is always she always keeps Krishna under her control.
Thus, Krishna and Radharani are both transcendently qualified and they attract one another. But Radharani's transcendental attractiveness is greater than Krishna's. For her attractiveness is the transcendental taste in the conjugal love. Similarly, there are transcendental taste in servitorship, friendship, and other relationship with Krishna. These can be described with a reference to the context of Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu. Persons who have been thoroughly cleansed by the devotional service and are always joyful being situated in the elevated situation, who are very much attached to studying Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, who are always cheerful in the association of devotees, who have accepted the lotus feet of Krishna as the ultimate shelter of their lives, and who are pleased to perform all the details of devotional service. Such devotees have their pure hearts in the transcendental ecstasy of attachment, which has been developed through old and new reformatory practices. That ecstatic state of being enriched with the love of Krishna and transcendental experience gradually develops into the mature bliss of spiritual life. Tasting such spiritual bliss is not possible for those who are not situated in the Krishna consciousness and devotional service. This fact is further corroborated with the Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, where it is said it is very difficult for the non devotees to understand the taste of devotional service. Only one who has completely taken shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna and whose life is merged in the ocean of devotional service can understand his transcendental pleasure.
Lord Chaitanya does briefly explain the transcendental situation, the spiritual release of life, which are called the fifth stage of perfection. The first stage of perfection is to become a religious man in the ordinary sense, as known in the material world. The second stage of perfection is to become materially rich. The third stage of perfection is the attainment of complete sense enjoyment, and the fourth stage of perfection is liberation. But above liberation are those in the fifth stage of perfection, those who are established in Krishna consciousness or devotional service to the Lord. Already liberated devotees who reach the highest perfection of devotional service in Krishna consciousness experience the taste of the ecstasy of spiritual release. The Lord then told Sanatana Goswami that he had previously thought his younger brother Rupa Goswami at Paragya, Allahabad. The Lord assured Sanatana Goswami that he had empowered Rupa Goswami to separate the knowledge he had given him. The Lord then similarly ordered Sanatana Goswami to write books on the knowledge he had given him. The Lord then similarly ordered Sanatana Goswami to write books on the transcendental loving service of Krishna, and he authorized his to excavate the different stage seats of Krishna's pastime in the districts of Mathura. Sanatana Goswami was also advised to construct temples in Vrindavan and to write books on the principles of Vaishnavism, all authorized by Lord Chaitanya himself. Sanatana Goswami excused all this desire of the Lord. He constructed the temple of Madan Mohan at Vrindavan, and he wrote book on the principle of devotional service such as the Hari Bhakti Vilas.
Lord Chaitanya further taught Sanatan Goswami how one can live in the material world while being in a complete relationship with Krishna. And he also taught him that there is no necessity for dry renunciation. The purport of these instructions is that in the present age, there are many persons who accept the renunciation order of life, but who are not spiritually advanced. Lord Chaitanya did not approve of such sannyas, explaining that it is wrong to accept sannyas without having perfect knowledge of Krishna consciousness. Actually, we find that there are so many so-called sannyasis whose actions are below those of ordinary men, but who pass themselves off as being in the renunciation order of life. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not accept such hypocrisy, and he instructed Sanatan Goswami to elaborate on the subject in his different books. The the perfectional stage of spiritual life which one can experience even while being in the material world is described by Lord Krishna in the 12th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There it is said that one who is not envious of any living entity, who is friendly, merciful, and detached from the material possessions, who is situated in his pure identity without any false conception of the body as the self, who is equipoised in both happiness and distress, who is forgiving, always satisfied, always engaged in devotional service, and always is surrendered unto the Supreme Lord with his body and mind, such a devotee is very dear to Krishna. A devotee who never gives trouble to any other living entity, either by his body or his mind, who is never affected by material distress and happiness, and who is never angry or pleased with anything material, is very dear to the Supreme Lord. He who is never dependent on anyone in this world, who is completely surrendered to the Supreme Lord, who is purified, expert, neutral, free of pain, and aloof from any material endeavor which requires too much attention, such a devotee is also very dear to Krishna. A person who is never subjected to material happiness or hatred, lamentation, or ambition, who is aloof from all materially auspicious and inauspicious activities, and who is fully devoted in Krishna consciousness, such a devotee is very dear to Lord Krishna. A devotee who treats equally a so called enemy and a so called friend in the material world, who is not disturbed by heat or cold, who is without any attachment, who is equally situated when respected or insulted, who is always grave, satisfied in any condition of life without any fixed residence and fixed in Krishna consciousness, such a devotee is very dear to Lord Krishna. Even if one is not situated in the transcendental position, still, if he approves the transcendental life described here, he is also very dear to Krishna. तो यहाँ पे मैंने सुना था कि टीचिंग्स ऑफ लॉर्ड चैतन्य में पूरा एसेंस है, जितने भी शास्त्र हैं उन सब का एसेंस है। तो आज पढ़ने से समझ आ रहा है कि जो हम शास्त्रों में पॉइंटर्स अगर हम अंडरलाइन करके पढ़ें, उसका एसेंस समझें, जो समझ में आएगा वो ऑलरेडी यहाँ पे पॉइंट्स में समरी फॉर्म में दिया हुआ है। तो कितना इम्पोर्टेंट है ये पैरा, अगर हमने कर लिया अच्छे से प्रैक्टिकली फॉलो, तो हम समझ सकते हैं कि हम कृष्णा को प्लीज कर पाएंगे। इस पूरे पैराग्राफ का एसेंस ही यही है। तो ठीक है, नेक्स्ट।
In Srimad Bhagavatam, there is a very nice verse stating that a devotee should always remain dependent on the mercy of the Supreme Lord, and that as far as his material necessities are concerned, he should be satisfied with whatever is obtained without endeavor. In this regard, Shukadev Goswami advised that a devotee should never approach a materialistic person for any kind of help. As far as one's bodily necessities are concerned, one can pick up torn clothing from the street, take fruits offered by trees, drink water from flowing rivers, and live in a mountain cave constructed by nature herself. Even if one is unable to do all these things, he should nonetheless completely depend on the Supreme Lord, understanding that since the Lord provides everyone with food and shelter, he will never fail to care for his devotees who are fully surrendered unto him. In any case, the devotee is always protected, and therefore he should not be at all anxious for his maintenance. Sanatan Goswami thus inquired on all phases of devotional service or Krishna consciousness, and Lord Chaitanya taught him most confidentially from authoritative scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam. The Lord also referred to the Vedic literature known as Hari Vamsha, which gives information about the transcendental abode of Krishna. This information was disclosed by Indra when he offered prayers after being defeated upon challenging the potency of Krishna. In the Hari Vamsha, it is stated that all the birds and airplanes can fly high in the sky above the earth, they cannot reach the higher planetary systems. The higher planetary systems extend upward from the sun planet, which is situated in the middle of the universe. Above the sun are planetary systems where persons who are elevated by great austerities and penances are situated. The whole material universe is called Devi Dham, and above it is Shivadham, where Lord Shiva and his wife Parvati eternally reside. Above that planetary system is the spiritual sky, where innumerable spiritual planets known as Vaikuntha planets are situated. And above these Vaikuntha planets is Krishna's planet, known as Goloka Vrindavan. The word Goloka means planet of the cows. Because Krishna is very fond of cows, his abode is known as Goloka. Golok Vrindavan is larger than all material and spiritual planets put together.
In his prayers in the Vanch, Indra admitted that he could not understand the situation of Golok even by asking Brahma. Devotees of Narayan, expansion of Krishna, attain the Vaikuntha planets, but it is very difficult to reach the Golok planet. Indeed, that planet can be reached only by the devotees of Lord Chaitanya or Lord Krishna. Indra then said to to Lord Krishna, "You have descended from that Golok planet in the spiritual world, and the disturbance I created was all due to my foolishness. Therefore, Indra begged Lord Krishna to excuse him." The last phase of the pastimes of Lord Krishna is described in Srimad Bhagavatam as Mosal Leela. This series of pastimes includes Krishna's mysterious disappearance from the material world. In that pastimes, the Lord played the part of being killed by a hunter. There are so many improper explanations of scriptural passages describing the last portion of Krishna's pastimes, such as the explanation of description of Krishna as the incarnation of a hare. But Lord Chaitanya properly explained these passages and gave them the right interpretation. As far as Krishna's being the incarnation of a hare is concerned, this is mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, the Vishnu Puran, and the Mahabharata. In the Mahabharata, it is stated that Lord Vishnu snatched a grey hair and a black hair from his head, and these two hairs entered into the wombs of the two queens of Yadu dynasty, namely Rohini and Devaki. It is also stated there that Lord Krishna descends to the material world in order to vanquish all the demons. Some say that Krishna is incarnation of Vishnu who lies in the ocean of milk within the universe. Srila Rupa Goswami says that Krishna is the incarnation of Vishnu who lies within the universe. Srila Rupa Goswami, in his Laghu Bhagavatamrit, along with his commentators, Srila Baladev Vidyabhushan, has discussed these points fully and have established the exact truth. Sri Jiva Goswami also discusses these points in the Krishna Sandarbha.
When Lord Chaitanya finished his instruction to Srila Sanatana Goswami, Sanatana being empowered and enlightened was so transcendently pleased that he at once fell at the feet of Lord Chaitanya and said, "I was born in a very low family and I have always associated with lowly people. Therefore, I am the lowest of sinners, yet you are so kind that you have taught me lessons which are not even understood by Lord Brahma, the greatest being in this universe. By your grace, I have appreciated the conclusion which you have taught me. But I am no so I am so low that I cannot even touch a drop of the ocean of your instruction. Thus, if you want me, who am nothing but a lame man, to dance the please give me your benediction by placing your feet on my head. Thus, Sanatana Goswami played for the Lord's confirmation that his teaching would actually eloped in this heart by his grace. Otherwise, Sanatana knew that there was no possibility of his being able to describe the Lord's teaching. The purpose of this is that the Acharya spiritual master are authorized by highest authorities. Instruction alone cannot make one expert unless one is blessed by the spiritual master or Acharya. Such teaching cannot become fully manifested. Therefore, one should seek the mercy of the spiritual master so that his instructions can be loved within oneself. After receiving the prayers of Sanatana Goswami, Lord Chaitanya placed his feet on Sanatana's head and gave him the benediction that all the Lord's instruction would fully develop within him. Thus, the Lord described the ultimate stage of love of Godhead. Lord Chaitanya said that such a description cannot be given very liberatory, but that he had informed Sanatana as far as possible. The author of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita concludes this chapter by writing that anyone who attentively hears this instruction of Lord Chaitanya to Sanatana Goswami very soon becomes situated in Krishna consciousness and engaged in pure devotional service of the Lord.